Are you a man over 50? Do you ever feel a nagging, deep-seated pain in your pelvic area? A discomfort that's hard to pinpoint but impossible to ignore? Have you ever found yourself getting up to use the bathroom again and again, especially at night, only to feel like you never fully empty your bladder? Do you ever experience a dull ache after sitting for too long, or a flare-up of pain after a stressful day? If you're nodding your head to any of this, let me ask you one more thing. Have you ever been told it's just a part of getting older, or been given a diagnosis of prostatitis or chronic pelvic pain syndrome only to be left feeling frustrated, confused, and with more questions than answers? You're not alone. Millions of men right here in the United States and across the globe are silently battling this often debilitating condition. It's a phantom menace that can steal your comfort, your sleep, and even your peace of mind. But what if I told you that there's a solution? What if I told you that by the end of this video, you will have a powerful toolkit of knowledge that can help you reclaim control over your body and your life? Modern research is shedding new light on prostatitis and chronic pelvic pain syndrome every day, and what it's revealing is that the power to manage, and in many cases significantly reduce your symptoms, lies in the choices you make every single day. We're going to count down the top 5 most harmful things you need to avoid, from number 5 all the way down to the number 1 absolute worst offender. This isn't just generic advice. This is a detailed, evidence-based roadmap to feeling better. So, grab a glass of water, and you'll soon find out why that's a good idea, and stay with me. The information in this video could truly be a game changer for you. All right, let's get right into it. We're starting our countdown with number 5. This is something that many of us do without even thinking, but it could be a major trigger for your pelvic pain. Number 5, the wrong kind of hydration, and dehydration's double-edged sword. It sounds simple, right? Drink more water, but it's a bit more nuanced than that when you're dealing with a sensitive prostate and pelvic region. Let's break down this crucial, yet often misunderstood aspect of managing your symptoms. First, let's talk about dehydration. When you don't drink enough water, your urine becomes highly concentrated. Think of it like a river that's drying up. The water that's left becomes thick with minerals and waste products. This concentrated urine is a powerful irritant to the delicate lining of your bladder and urethra. For a man with prostatitis or CPPS, this is like pouring salt on a wound. It can trigger that burning sensation when you urinate, increase the frequency and urgency of your bathroom trips, and generally amplify the inflammation in your pelvic area. Recent data strongly suggests a link between poor hydration and worsening lower urinary tract symptoms. Your body is trying to flush out inflammatory substances, but without enough water, it simply can't. Imagine trying to wash a pile of dirty dishes with just a few drops of water. It's not going to be very effective. But here's the other side of the coin, the wrong kind of hydration. Many men, in an attempt to stay hydrated, reach for beverages that are actually making their condition worse. I'm talking about the twin terrors of pelvic health, caffeine and alcohol. Let's start with caffeine. That morning cup of coffee, the afternoon tea, or that energy drink you think you need to get through the day. They are all potent diuretics. This means they make your kidneys produce more urine, forcing you to go to the bathroom more often. But that's not all. Caffeine is also a known bladder irritant. It can cause the muscles in your bladder to contract and spasm, leading to that unpleasant feeling of urgency and a constant nagging need to go. For a man whose pelvic floor muscles may already be tense and overactive, this is a recipe for a major flare-up. And it's not just regular coffee. Modern studies have shown that even decaffeinated coffee can still cause significant irritation for many individuals with pelvic pain syndromes. The acidic nature of coffee, both regular and decaf, can be a major problem. Now let's talk about alcohol. That beer after a long day, the glass of wine with dinner. It might feel relaxing, but for your prostate, it's anything but. Alcohol is also a diuretic and a bladder irritant, just like caffeine. It can increase inflammation throughout your body, and the prostate is particularly susceptible. Some studies have shown a direct correlation between regular alcohol consumption and a higher risk of prostatitis. Furthermore, alcohol can interfere with the nerve signals that control your bladder, leading to even more urinary dysfunction. And here's something many men don't realize. Alcohol can dehydrate you. So while you're drinking a liquid, you're actually making the problem of concentrated urine even worse. So what's the solution? It's simple, but it requires discipline. Stick to plain, pure water. Aim for at least 1.5 to 2 liters spread throughout the day. Don't guzzle it all at once. Sip it steadily. This keeps your urine diluted and helps to continuously flush out irritants. Herbal teas like chamomile or peppermint can also be good soothing options. The takeaway here is crucial. Not all liquids are created equal. Choosing the right ones can make a world of difference. Number 4, the pressure cooker lifestyle, letting stress run the show. Now for number 4, and this one is an invisible enemy that can have a very real, very physical impact on your pelvic pain. Stress. We live in a high-pressure world. Financial worries, work deadlines, family responsibilities. It all adds up. And for men, especially from a generation that was often taught to just tough it out, acknowledging and managing stress can be a real challenge. But here's what the latest research is telling us loud and clear. There is a profound and undeniable link between your mind and your pelvic floor. Think about what you do when you're startled or under pressure. You clench your jaw, you tighten your shoulders. Well, you also unconsciously clench your pelvic floor muscles. This is part of the body's natural fight or flight response. The problem is, when you're living in a state of chronic stress, those pelvic floor muscles can become chronically tight, spasming, and inflamed. This condition is often referred to as hypertonic pelvic floor dysfunction, and it's a major driver of the pain in chronic pelvic pain syndrome. Imagine your pelvic floor is a hammock of muscles supporting your bladder and other organs. A healthy hammock is strong yet flexible, but under chronic stress, that hammock becomes a rigid, unyielding board. This constant tension can lead to a whole host of problems: restricted blood flow to the area, which hampers healing; nerve irritation, which sends a constant barrage of pain signals to your brain; and of course, that persistent, deep-seated ache that is the hallmark of CPPS. Modern science has shown that stress hormones, particularly cortisol, can also directly contribute to inflammation throughout the body. So not only is stress causing a physical clenching, but it's also fueling the inflammatory fire at a chemical level. It becomes a vicious cycle. The pain causes you stress, and the stress makes the pain worse. Let me give you a concrete example. Think about a tough day at work. You're dealing with a difficult boss or a challenging project. You might not notice it, but you're likely sitting tensed up for hours on end. By the time you get home, that familiar ache in your perineum or lower back is back with a vengeance. That's not a coincidence. That's your body's physical manifestation of the stress you've been under all day. So, how do you fight this invisible enemy? It's about actively engaging in stress-reducing practices. This isn't new age stuff. This is practical, evidence-based medicine for your nervous system. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breathing, is incredibly powerful. By taking slow, deep breaths that engage your diaphragm, you can directly signal to your nervous system that it's safe to relax. This, in turn, helps to release the tension in your pelvic floor. Other proven techniques include mindfulness meditation, gentle stretching or yoga, and simply making time for hobbies that you enjoy and that take your mind off your worries. Even something as simple as a 20-minute walk in nature can have a profound effect on your stress levels and consequently, your pain levels. The key is to understand that managing your stress is not a luxury. For a man with prostatitis or CPPS, it's an essential part of your treatment plan. You have to break the cycle. Number 3, the flavor that fights back. The truth about spicy and acidic foods. Coming in at number 3 on our list of things to avoid is something that many of us love, a little kick in our food. But when you're dealing with pelvic pain, that kick can feel more like a full-blown assault on your system. We're talking about spicy and highly acidic foods. Let's start with the spicy stuff. Foods that contain capsaicin, the compound that gives chili peppers their heat, can be major irritants. While some people can handle the heat just fine, for a man with an inflamed prostate or a sensitive bladder, it's a different story. When you ingest these spicy foods, the capsaicin compounds are eventually excreted through your urine. As this capsaicin-laced urine passes through your urinary tract, it can directly irritate the already inflamed tissues of your prostate and bladder lining. Think of it this way: if you had a sunburn, you wouldn't rub hot sauce on it, would you? It's a similar principle here. You have an internal inflammation, and these spicy compounds are essentially fanning the flames from the inside out. This can lead to a very noticeable increase in burning sensations, urinary urgency, and that general feeling of pelvic discomfort, often within hours of eating the offending meal. Many men with CPPS report that a spicy dinner can ruin their entire next day, but it's not just about the obvious culprits like hot wings or a fiery curry. You need to become a bit of a detective and read your food labels. Hot sauces, certain salsas, and even some processed foods can have hidden sources of intense spice that can trigger a flare-up. Now, let's move on to acidic foods. This is another category that can cause significant problems. Highly acidic foods and drinks can lower the pH of your urine, making it more acidic and, therefore, more irritating to your urinary tract. The biggest offenders here are often things we think of as healthy. Citrus fruits, for example. Oranges, grapefruits, lemons, and even tomatoes are all highly acidic. While they are packed with vitamins, their acidity can be a major problem for a sensitive bladder. That glass of orange juice in the morning, it could be setting you up for a day of pain. Tomato sauce on your pasta, another potential trigger. It's important to remember that everyone's tolerance is different. Some men might be able to handle a small amount of tomato in a salad, while for others, even that is too much. This is where keeping a food and symptom diary can be incredibly helpful. For a week or two, jot down everything you eat and drink, and make a note of how your symptoms are on a scale of 1 to 10. You might start to see a very clear pattern emerge, linking certain foods to your worst days. The solution isn't to live on a bland, boring diet. It's about being smart and strategic. It's about identifying your personal triggers and then finding delicious alternatives. Instead of hot sauce, maybe you can use herbs like oregano, basil, and thyme to flavor your food. Instead of a highly acidic tomato sauce, perhaps a creamy, non-dairy alternative could work. It's a process of elimination and discovery, but it's a process that can pay huge dividends in your daily comfort. Number 2, the sedentary sentence. Why sitting is the new smoking for your prostate. We're getting close to the top spot, but at number 2, we have an activity that is so ingrained in our modern lives that we barely even notice we're doing it, yet it is wreaking havoc on pelvic health: prolonged sitting. I'm going to make a bold statement. For a man with prostatitis or CPPS, sitting for long periods is one of the absolute worst things you can do. Modern research is increasingly pointing to our sedentary lifestyle as a primary aggravating factor for a whole host of health issues, and pelvic pain is right at the top of that list. Let's break down exactly what happens when you sit. When you're in a seated position, you are putting direct, sustained pressure on your perineum. That's the area between your scrotum and your anus. And what lies right in that area? Your prostate gland and the complex network of nerves and muscles that make up your pelvic floor. When you sit for hours on end, day after day, you are essentially compressing this incredibly sensitive region. This compression does several very bad things. First, it can restrict blood flow. Reduced blood flow means less oxygen and fewer nutrients getting to the tissues, and a slower removal of inflammatory waste products. This creates a stagnant, unhealthy environment that is perfect for pain and inflammation to thrive. Second, the constant pressure can directly irritate the nerves in the pelvic region, particularly the pudendal nerve, which is a major nerve pathway for pelvic sensation. When this nerve gets irritated or compressed, it can send out a barrage of pain signals that can manifest as aching, burning, or even sharp stabbing pains. And third, as we discussed earlier with stress, sitting often leads to a tightening of the pelvic floor muscles. When you're slumped in a chair, your posture is often poor, which puts your pelvic floor in a shortened, tensed position. Do this for 8 hours a day at a desk job, and you're essentially training your pelvic floor muscles to be in a constant state of spasm. Think of it like this. Imagine putting a clamp on a garden hose. The water flow is restricted, and the pressure builds up. That's what you're doing to your pelvic region when you sit for too long. Truck drivers, office workers, pilots, writers, Anyone whose profession or lifestyle involves long hours in a chair is at a significantly higher risk of developing or exacerbating CPPS. So what's a man to do in a world that's designed around sitting? The answer is movement. You have to break the sedentary cycle. The rule of thumb that many physical therapists recommend is to get up and move for at least 5 minutes for every 30 minutes of sitting. Set a timer on your phone or your computer. When it goes off, stand up, stretch, walk around the office, do a few gentle squats, anything to take that pressure off your perineum and get the blood flowing again. Investing in a sit-stand desk can be a life-changing decision for an office worker. Alternating between sitting and standing throughout the day can dramatically reduce the total time you spend compressing your pelvic floor. And when you do sit, sit smarter. Avoid hard, unforgiving surfaces. A supportive cushion, particularly a specialized coccyx or pelvic floor cushion with a cutout for the perineum, can be incredibly beneficial. These cushions are designed to redistribute your weight onto your site bones, taking the pressure off that critical central area. Make no mistake, your chair can be your worst enemy or your best friend. Making a conscious, deliberate effort to sit less and move more is not just a suggestion. It is a fundamental pillar of managing and overcoming chronic pelvic pain. Number 1, the dietary demolition crew: processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats. And here we are. The number 1 most harmful thing you need to avoid for prostatitis and chronic pelvic pain syndrome. This isn't a single food or a single activity. It's a whole category of substances that have infiltrated our modern diet and are, according to a growing body of scientific evidence, a primary driver of chronic inflammation throughout the body. I'm talking about the trifecta of dietary evil: highly processed foods, refined sugar, and unhealthy fats. If you take away only one thing from this video, let it be this: the food you eat is either fighting inflammation or it is fueling it. There is no middle ground. Let's start with highly processed foods. This is anything that comes in a box, a bag, or a can and has a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce. These foods are often loaded with artificial additives, preservatives, and chemicals that your body doesn't recognize as real food. When you consume them, your immune system can go on high alert, triggering a systemic inflammatory response. For a man with an already inflamed prostate, this is like pouring gasoline on a fire. The inflammation isn't just localized to your gut, it's body-wide, and it will find its way to the most vulnerable, already inflamed areas, like your pelvic region. Next up, refined sugar. This is the hidden monster in so many of our foods and drinks. Sodas, sweetened juices, candy, pastries, and even many so-called healthy cereals and yogurt are packed with it. Modern research has unequivocally shown that a high-sugar diet is one of the most pro-inflammatory ways of eating. Sugar spikes your insulin levels and triggers the release of inflammatory cytokines, chemical messengers that ramp up inflammation throughout your body. This systemic inflammation can directly worsen the symptoms of prostatitis and CPPS, leading to more pain, more swelling, and more discomfort. And finally, let's talk about unhealthy fats. I'm referring specifically to trans fats, often found in fried foods, baked goods, and many processed snacks, and an overabundance of omega-6 fatty acids found in oils like corn, soy, and sunflower oil. When consumed in excess, these fats also promote a powerful inflammatory response in the body. Think of your body as a high-performance engine. These processed foods, sugars, and bad fats are like putting low-grade, dirty fuel into that engine. It's going to sputter, clog up, and eventually break down. The pain and inflammation in your pelvis are the warning lights on your dashboard, begging you to change the fuel you're using. So, what's the alternative? It's a whole foods, anti-inflammatory diet. This is not a diet in the sense of restriction and deprivation. It's a way of eating that celebrates real, nourishing food. Focus on brightly colored fruits and vegetables, which are packed with anti-inflammatory antioxidants. Think leafy greens, berries, broccoli, and peppers. Embrace healthy fats, like the omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish like salmon, as well as in walnuts, flax seeds, and avocados. These fats actively fight inflammation in the body. Choose lean proteins like chicken and fish, and complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, quinoa, and brown rice. Making this dietary shift is the single most powerful thing you can do to combat the root cause of your pain, chronic inflammation. It takes effort, it takes planning, and it takes a commitment to read labels and choose wisely. But the payoff is immense. You're not just managing your symptoms, you're healing your body from the inside out. So, there you have it. The top 5 harmful things to avoid for prostatitis and chronic pelvic pain syndrome. Let's recap. Number 5, the wrong kind of hydration. Ditch the caffeine and alcohol and embrace pure water. Number 4, the pressure cooker lifestyle. Actively manage your stress to relax your pelvic floor. Number 3, the flavor that fights back. Identify and avoid your personal triggers from spicy and acidic foods. Number 2, the sedentary sentence. Sit less, move more, and take the pressure off your prostate. And number 1, the dietary demolition crew. Eliminate processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats, and adopt an anti-inflammatory way of eating. I know this is a lot of information, and making these changes can seem daunting. But I want you to see this not as a list of restrictions, but as a list of opportunities. Each one of these points is a powerful lever you can pull to improve your quality of life. You don't have to suffer in silence, and you don't have to accept this pain as your new normal. The knowledge is out there, backed by modern science. The power to change is in your hands. Start with one thing. Maybe this week, you focus on getting up from your desk every 30 minutes. Or maybe you swap out that daily soda for a glass of water. Small, consistent steps lead to massive, lasting results. This is your journey to wellness, and it starts today. Thank you for watching. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more evidence-based health content for men. And please, share your own experiences and questions in the comments below. Let's create a community of support for men who are ready to take back control of their health.